par minuta ostati. You can take a seat here.
Here. Or you want to sit here?
Huh? Test. Okay.
Except the other way. I don't want to like fly backwards. There you go. I'd be like, so I'm back.
Okay. Okay. We're live, guys. Can you hear us well?
Следующих 15 секунд.
Okay, live mic. Yeah. Oh, it's already live.
Nice.
I know, I guess. Okay.
I look like I'm smaller than anybody else.
Because you are. Oh, that's cheating.
Okay, audio is working. Hear everyone well. Okay, guys. once again, thanks a lot for joining another live session from Orqa team. This live is somewhat special. We have a special guest with us here. And yeah, maybe if we start by introducing who do we have here today? It's you.
It's me? Oh, well, I'm Jonathan, with co-founder of Ostrich Air.
Okay, glad to have you here. Before we jump into some topics that relate to community, where FPV is going, some deep stuff,
Okay.
maybe if we do a quick update on what's new and what's not new. Basically, nothing new. We're waiting this components that should arrive in around 24th of September. And when there's some news on the production and shipping schedule, we'll update you as soon as possible.
Well, I think you sent out an update yesterday, didn't you?
I did.
So basically, we've yesterday we've picked up the first machine run of the PCBs. Everything looks perfect, and looking forward to build the very first. I would call it like a production run, mini production run, like a test run.
Yeah.
And
Well,
getting closer to the date that when we actually
birthday is soon. Okay, Vlatko, what's new in your department? He's the busiest one in these days. So how's preparations for production going? What's ongoing as we speak?
Right now we're setting up some test jigs and fixtures to be able to test all the PCBs and electronics. Also setting up some procedures for assembling the goggles in volume. We're getting ready our laminar flow cabinet, or the
What's that?
That's the clean room in small, because we want to assemble. We're going to assemble the optical engines in a really clean environment, so no dust particles or anything.
So our customers should not expect fingerprints on their
Oh
legs.
yeah, there will be the fingerprints all over the.
Yeah.
how would they know that we built it?
Yeah.
Need to leave a fingerprint.
Yeah, like
No.
crimes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I think I kind of promised that in one of the very next updates we're gonna do a walkthrough of OSD and the menus, and that will show you pretty much what features we're gonna release with the first firmware to keep you guys entertained while you wait for the goggles to arrive in your hands. But maybe if we jump on you.
Maybe I can name
You can jump on it. Because other way around.
You know, if you want to.
It's a custom here.
Come on, Jonathan, you have to be open-minded here.
I don't know, man. I just can't promise you I'm not going to start something.
Just relax and let it happen.
First time goes.
Okay, let me do a bit of introduction first. So basically, I remember when you guys first reached out first, we were preparing for Vegas, we were preparing for CES, and we started talking, and then when after we finished with the CES and then went to Bay Area, we visited Ostrich Air in their headquarters.
Yes.
And we had an amazing time there. Thank you again for that. These guys basically gave us the exposure that you guys invited local pilots when we had these very first units that we were demoing at the CS units, very first functioning units. These guys organized a great event, very intimate, very cool people that we met. Not come on, these guys. Come on.
I don't know what's wrong with you. You're really too intimate.
Yeah, man, it's a very warm moment. And then again, a couple weeks after, or actually a month after we first came to visit you, we flew out to San Francisco again and we saw you guys again, and thank you for coming to see us. And
For sure.
yeah.
Like, I mean, you guys had an event, I think a couple of months later, that you guys invited me to, and I just couldn't make it, which I was bummed about. So at that time, I promised you guys, I was like, I will come out, I will make it out here, I'll find the schedule and get it done. So
That's how you keep a promise.
this is why I'm here, you know, just keeping my word.
Yeah.
That was, I think, a Kickstarter campaign launch event in
Yeah.
July, was it? Was it
And
that,
the-
or
and
was
the-
it
and the
something
ra- and
before?
the race, and
Maybe
the
it
race,
was
yeah.
was
You
it
guys had a
was
race.
a drone race.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yep,
it was a
yep.
race.
Cool. So tell us and the audience what is Ostrich Air? What do you guys do? What is your mission? And tell
What
us
do
more
what do you
about
want?
What do I want? Oh man, what don't I want? But I mean, reality is, we are a giant drone racing team, but we have a strong background in engineering. So this is how we survive. This is why Ostrich Air is growing exponentially since we started it a little bit over a year ago. Like you said, I mean, we've been reaching out to everybody that we foresee will be a great partner with us, and that's why we went after you guys. Actually, I mean, we were talking to pretty much everybody, but at that
I
point,
thought we were special.
it. Yeah.
now you're
That's what she
special.
said.
After all those warm comments, you became special.
He's gonna jump on you.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, well, this is special.
He's the jumper.
Yeah. He's the jumper. so yeah, no, I mean, I think you guys are just like almost. We felt very close to the same thing. Like you guys were starting up, trying to build something amazing. Your team obviously is hilarious and very smart.
I don't know if that's
No, I mean,
Who's
it's,
hilarious?
so yeah, no, I think it's been so far. I'm extremely happy that we did connect and that we're here right now. You know?
I'm very interested to find out more about engineering side of Ostrich Air. So I know because I've met many people from Ostrich Air. They have pretty awesome top level careers in companies like they had and they still do in like NASA and propulsion labs and so on. So what do you guys bring on the table when you gather around and work some engineering stuff?
So for us, for us it's more than just racing. So for us, we want to race, we want to build the cool drone, but there's a lot of data that incurs in us testing a lot of these products with a lot of companies, which then relates to bigger things like multi-rotor flying cars, or like
Flying cars?
Yeah,
Flying cars?
yeah.
Okay.
finally,
That's-
they're here.
Finally, okay.
They're hiding. They're all over Silicon Valley, but they're hiding. No, there's a lot of companies out there right now that are working on the future of flying vehicles, and as you guys know, this is it. I mean, drones are the very base of that. So for us to be able to build something, test it, and figure out ways of making it better, it just hopefully our name will be up there by the time that these companies grow enough where we can actually be a very important part of that growth here for in the world.
So how long is the stretch until we are able to have flying cars? And I actually
To
go
get a
from point
prototype
A-
for testing.
You
Point
never,
A.
seriously, if you sign a waiver, we'll get you in one really quick.
Really?
But I don't know if you're gonna survive it, so
Okay,
this is
that's-
why the waiver.
It's
But
not important if you have enough people here.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, see, they don't even need, so we're good to go.
One less.
We'll get some new people.
The live feed will be delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. And what are the biggest challenges that you have? I mean, Silicon Valley is the homeland of inventors and high tech. How easy or difficult it is to develop something that a lot of us can't even imagine it's possible.
I mean, it is extremely hard, but because of being in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of like-minded individuals with just incredible intelligence that are basically, this is what they do, and literally jumping from one company to the other, they just learn so much that it's going to be something that will definitely be in our future. Don't know if FAA, when that's going to be allowed, but the vehicle and the hardwares and stuff are there, you know. It's just
Awesome.
how we're going to get it there.
Awesome.
And what do you think about the future of FPV? What's your take on it? I mean, where do you see things going in terms of format of the birds, the whole thing with the digital, the DJI systems out, change a lot of things. What's your take on that?
So I mean, I believe there's room for everything, you know. Like right now, digital, yeah, it's nice, you know. The FPV community is just not ready for it because unless you're a freestyle pilot or something like that, when it comes down to races, they're just not set up, you know, for it to work properly on that kind of scenario, for like time tracking or, you know, just a bunch of different things that they're not able to do. I just came back from Arizona where they did the first DRL live event, and I seriously didn't expect it to be as awesome as it was. Like, there was tons of people. This place was packed, and the audience was, you know, like just going crazy over seeing smaller drones. And I could all I'm sitting there is imagine if it was one of our giant drones going through here, how much of a difference it would be. So I believe it's gonna go towards bigger drones. Yes, the technology will catch up and things will change, but as of now,
Can you tell us a little bit more about the giant drones? I mean, how
We
much?
saw an X-Class, right?
How much
So you're
bigger they are?
you're
from-
talking about
I mean,
1,000 millimeter
Yeah.
from motor to motor.
What about the weight,
Um,
speed?
Weight, you're talking under 10 pounds. Legally, they're only going 99.9 miles an hour. And I
Okay.
don't know how much faster. I don't think they can go any faster than 99.9 miles an hour right now.
But
Really?
but if something would like get broken, how fast then it could go?
So, I mean, it depends on the team. Right now, we're probably one of the very few that have a full team. So we come out with a decent amount of drones, extra parts, and we can get one up pretty fast, you know, but it is costly. So not everybody gets into it because it is a costly event for even for us, even with a ton of sponsors and help and partners and making money on the side with engineering. Like, it's still hard for us. So, but I see it growing. I mean, I see a lot more people getting into it and building their big drones, which our expectations are for bigger companies that have bigger funding to actually start their own teams. And I think at that point it'll become way bigger, way faster.
Do we have a slightly opposing opinions on the size of the trail?
We basically, I mean, I think we are aligned on the future of racing, and it needs to be, you know, drones need to be bigger because it needs to be awesome. It needs to be scary a bit.
Yeah.
People like
Yeah.
carnage.
Yeah.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, why do people go to a car race? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like when it comes down to it, the thing that gets the most hits or whatever, it's that carnage.
Yeah, loud, big, and you know, it needs
Dangerous.
Dangerous. There needs to be a suspense, and I find that a lot of the, you know, as a live as an attendee of a live drone event, it can be extremely boring. You know, it's you just see tiny things zooming by, and you know, you can't really follow the plot. And there's a lot of, you know, with all the heats and qualifications and it's just stuff happening, and you really, I mean, it's you know, standing on a sideline at the bar drinking beers and talking to people, but I don't find it very you know, spectator friendly.
You got it.
Now, I think that the future of racing is really in larger birds, something like Red Bull Air Race, but with,
Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
for
No, I completely agree, and it is gonna get bigger. And our plans it is to keep growing these drones to the point where, You know, I mean,
Like a half a ton drone.
you never. I mean,
smashing into
that's the
crowd.
point. Once the company keeps growing and sponsors keeps getting bigger, I mean, you're gonna get bigger motors, bigger props. You're gonna get some serious, you know, like you said, carnage going on. But at that point, you know, I mean, you're able to sustain it, you know. But for now, you have to start somewhere, and by having a flying lawnmower next to you, that's scary as shit. So
I don't know. I mean, it may be that you know, the drone racing would need to be approached from maybe a different perspective. I mean, I think we're still in experimentation phase when it comes to kind of smaller classes where you could. I don't know. I guess it's always going to be like that in as a live event, but as a TV production, you know, you might be able to get it more interesting through production, through making, you know, really nice editing and you know, with showing stuff in slow motion, because these things move really fast. So I think you can make it spectacular and more interesting for a viewer, maybe once we learn how to edit the whole event. So you know, and at that point it's not gonna matter how big or small it is. So you know, I think so the bigger stuff is gonna be cooler for live events.
Got it.
And for, you know, and then if we're talking about TV production, it's gonna, you know, boil down to editing, I guess.
Oh yeah, you can't tell scale, right? On TV.
Yeah, you can't.
So that's easy for editing for sure. But yeah, the larger drones for an audience do make a huge difference and a huge impact, as we've seen so far in a couple of live events.
But we have an interesting question here. So G. Bolter asked, with the perceived issues and regulations to share airspace with aircraft, how the hell should we be allowed to operate FPV quads with flying cars?
So
It's gonna be the end, or
you know what's the game changer on that kind of stuff? People like Google, Amazon, like those big corporations with never-ending funding that basically want to have, you know, their vehicles be allowed so that they can do commercial, you know, they can basically transport at this moment, and or Uber, or, you know, like these companies are the ones that are gonna just push those regulations where it's going to be allowed, you know, and they're gonna have to change those rules at that point. So I believe that that's what's gonna be the game changer is as those companies keep growing on the drone side.
And also, you know, thinking out loud, I guess, you know, growing up as a kid, flying car was, you know, stuff that, you know, thing that you would drive and fly, right? But I think that the future and reality, if flying cars happen, we might be seeing fully autonomous stuff.
For sure.
Or heavy, you know, drive-by-wire, but you know, heavily assisted, and you know, you're just gonna be either a passenger or, you know, person tapping on a touch screen, basically. So I guess you know, these things will not so much be will not be an issue so much, and then I guess we will have to see much more regulation to the hobby. But this is why I think that the future of the hobby is in the smaller, you know, micro class. There's a lot of advantages to that. So
There is, yeah. Nobody ever gets mad when you fly a whoop through a restaurant, a wedding, or anywhere. Nobody even oh, look at the cute little thing.
maybe
you
the
know?
person that, you know,
Right.
if you fly in her hair, and it's just that person,
Yeah,
you know.
we've had an incident. Let's not talk about that in our at the club.
I'm not gonna point at names.
We don't know who did it, no?
What are you talking about?
No.
I never had something like that happen.
Okay, Marina. Okay. Hi, Marina.
Do you have any questions, guys? If you want to ask a question, feel free to write it in the comments. We'll be happy to address it. So, how did you start flying drones? How?
So I was actually doing it for film. So
For film?
yeah, so I wanted to. Well, I mean, I got into doing just movie type, you know, filming, and I was actually practicing because I wanted to do the stunt type stuff.
Oh wow.
So I was like, I want to do the hard stuff. I want to do like, you know, where they can't, if they call that guy says, oh no, I'm not flying that. So I would be the one to take the Inspire and, you know, fly it through a gap, you know?
Somebody else is inspired.
Yeah, well, at first it was mine, but then, you know, as you start doing more work, then you get them to provide the equipment, which is
You
nice.
realize it's
Yeah.
just too expensive to crash your
Yeah,
own. Yeah.
but
understand.
so that's actually how I got into FPV. I would go to this park and I'd set up gates, like the FPV gates, and I would practice, but with my, you know, with my expensive, you know, with my Inspires and stuff like that. You see me like just flying it through small gaps at full speed and stuff like that. And actually Team Baylands, so the racing team there would practice right by. So they saw me and they were like, dude, you have to come fly FPV. Like, if you doing that crap with that, you gotta come fly with us. And I was like, well, if you guys help me get into it, I'll totally get in. So amazing Team Baylands was able to basically, you know, they, from motors to ESCs to, that was my first quad, got it built with them, then practiced with them, and the rest is history. You know?
Cool. I know you're traveling a lot.
Oh,
So
gosh.
yeah, I guess you're meeting a lot of FPV pilots. So I'm guessing that there are communities out there in the world that are not very on the front end of most obvious FPV groups on the Facebook. So can you tell us about some of the more interesting experiences that you had with FPV pilots in community when traveling around the globe?
I mean, it's interesting because you never think anything of it when you're carrying your drone in your bag, and you know, and just randomly in just the weirdest place somebody goes, oh, you're an FPV pilot, and you get excited because you're like, oh, that's awesome, you know, like yeah, I've watched you guys, I've watched, you know, on Instagram, or I've seen you guys fly, and I mean, it's kind of exciting. I mean, it makes you happy for what you do, you know. I mean,
Awesome.
so.
I think just before we jump on the questions, I think 2 days ago, I think on Rotor Riot group, there was a guy who posted the picture. So he was standing in the traffic lights, and the car in front of him had FPV pilot sticker on it, and he posted the picture in the I think Rotor Riot group, and asked, okay, I saw this guy in Montana, USA. If you are here in the group, please PM me. And like 5 minutes after, the guys, oh yeah, that was me. Let's fly next
Awesome.
next afternoon. So it's a small world, and but we have a couple of questions here. Sergeant, would you like to take these ones?
So slow, Scotty. How is the firmware for DVR coming along? DVR is done. So on the DVR side, that's pretty much done now. It's basically down to integrating it with everything else and polishing. So DVR is coming out in the. Are you all drone pilots? Almost all of us.
Almost all of us.
Any news on Connect and Play? So yeah, basically FPV Connect is we're pretty much done.
It's about.
So we validated the designs way long ago. We managed to. So I remember one of the earlier lives. We weren't sure that we'll be able to stream from the goggles. So we've also validated. So it looks like that we on the first production version, we're gonna have live streaming via Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to fly and stream stream that to your mobile phone.
That's epic.
So it actually works, and so now we've ordered these modules in so Wi-Fi modules that we're using, Wi-Fi chips that we're using. We've ordered them in volume, and I expect that everything. So we have a feature list there on a whiteboard, and we kind of made set a goal for what stuff is going into the first production, what we're postponing for the next one, and I'm happy to say that it's more than we've expected. So that's coming along really nice. On the FOV scaling, it is scheduled for a future firmware update. We have decided to kind of draw the line where on the features that we're going to include in the first production. So I expect this to be prioritized in some of the further updates. Are the goggles processing DVR footage other than frame size differently from current goggles in the market, possibly increasing quality or no special process? So we're not increasing quality. I'm afraid it's not.
What does that
not
actually
possible.
mean? Increase quality.
You can't.
What is increasing?
I don't know. Like
I
color
don't
correction.
like
Scale maybe, I don't know.
I mean, it's garbage in, garbage out. Really,
Yeah.
what you're getting. This is what
is
you
this
can
the
get.
question more about increasing the
But
the number of pixels, like the resolution, or what?
No. You can't do it. But
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
think
can
that
upscale, but
that's not the
you-
quality stays the same.
Yeah.
The resolution that you're getting the signal in is that you're stuck with that. But I think the important thing is that we're not recording DVR. You get we are recording it at a higher resolution. So we are getting PAL or Ntsc in, but we are recording it at 1280-960. So it's actually larger, much more pixels that are being there's no they're being fed in. There's no deterioration of the image, and this actually it's this large image that gets encoded
Smoothing.
with H. So
He's asking about smoothing.
Smoothing. No.
we're not
We are
doing
not
smoothing. I mean,
doing any post-processing of the footage because
but what happens really, when if you compare if you compare the DVRs that are recording at a lower resolution, you're getting larger blocks when the encoding happens. So that's why you lose that. That's why you lose that quality. And with us, the block, because the pixel count is much larger than the input signal, those blocks are much finer, and you don't get that deterioration of the DVR footage that we got used to in currently available.
So Connect is
DVRs.
using ESP32?
Nope.
Nope. Did we even try using it?
Yeah, with
yes,
beginning it's not
yes,
working.
but it's not.
ESP
It cannot do stream. It
Yeah.
cannot do streaming.
ESP was good for, and actually
Data transfer.
Yeah, I mean it was good for being for the original purpose, which was downloading files from the goggles and uploading firmware and whatever you want to upload to the goggles. But we found that you can't really stream, and it's rather slow. So we decided to.
I don't think that FPV Connect will be shipped together
Nope.
with the goggles. It will be
Sold
either
separately.
shipped and sold separately. Yeah.
Yeah, but for those of you that bought them on Kickstarter, I expect this will be
Pretty soon.
yeah, it's quite soon. I mean, it all depends on how quickly we'll be able to get the Wi-Fi modules. Basically, we use Wi-Fi chips, Wi-Fi modules like the ESP, but not quite the ESP. It's a
Someone's
different
asking which one.
chipset. Realtek, one of the Realtek.
Realtek chipset, but
I don't remember which one.
yeah, it
Uh,
wouldn't help you much.
So basically, it's when we get the lead time on those, we'll be able to know. The rest is pretty simple. We'll be able to know what's the date.
Okay, this one. If I maybe read the question out loud.
I'm using the HDMI port as the input. Will the video also be converted to analog? And no, actually, sent to analog converter. Why would you? AV connector. Why would you want to send it to AV connector? Can we actually do that?
Like to receive the HDMI signal
And
then,
send it
then
to AV,
out
pass
to
it through the AV.
Never thought.
Why
of
would you?
that.
Yeah, we never thought of that.
What's
Why
the
would
idea
you use
behind
that for? Why would you do that?
Okay,
I'm interested to find out.
for all of you who's asking about the colors, we're gonna soon show you show you the colored versions of FPV1, but once we have time to make proper photos and then assemble everything properly.
And there's another good question. What camera type works best with the goggles, Ntsc or PAL? That's a good question. We need to...
I mean,
I don't know if
both work
But
okay, but
I don't know
which
if there's
one is
any
better?
advantage
I don't know which one
yeah.
works better. I mean,
Okay, Paul has
has more plans.
Yeah, but the frame rate is it's they're kind of there. I mean, it's you really can't tell the difference between Ntsc and PAL.
Yeah. What is this question?
Which platform did you use for those 5G RC card? What
What
was that the kit? It was not a kit,
It
and
was
we
the-
cannot talk too much about that.
I mean, is it a question about the car or the 5G or
The
what?
setup, yeah. I don't think we should
Okay.
address
Fair
that. So ship this month, yeah. Will you bring analog DVR footage back from Turkey? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna bring some footage. So there are no updates. So I see Chris is asking about the update on the shipping. So basically we are waiting these buttons, and they should arrive around 24th of September. So once we have it with us, we'll update. Okay, these ones.
We're waiting.
Yeah, I
we're
think it's
waiting for
important.
this.
Yeah. So
Tiny
these
button.
guys, these.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
There's
what
the camera.
Tick, tick.
these
It's
guys.
too far.
Yeah. So.
He's not showing actually nothing. He doesn't
Nah,
have anything.
yeah,
in his hand.
Yeah.
This guy here, right here. So yeah, I mean, the lead time on those was pretty nasty, and there were some delays, but we're working to kind of shave days off of the lead times and. So, just for example, I'm flying in the HD system, and I want to have a second screen that. Oh, okay. So, Ton, you don't need to. So you don't need to use AV as an input for another person. You can have the Connect, and then you give that other person your mobile
You
phone
get the
with
live
the app,
stream, yeah.
and you get the live stream on
And
it.
you can have as many people as you like to tap into that.
Yeah, but you know, it's gonna have latency, but it's not.
For just the spectator.
For the
it
spectator,
really
that's
doesn't matter.
that's not a problem pilot.
And we are not talking like the crazy latency.
Yeah.
Really.
Once again about the colors, we're gonna prepare professional photos of those pretty soon. So
G Bolter says PAL is much better. Okay, I mean I couldn't really
Trust
tell
your
that. I trust your word. I'm gonna fly PAL.
pinky swear. Okay.
was
After
that?
Kickstarter, when would the next production be released for the service?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, after Kickstarter, when we ship to all the Kickstarter backers, we're gonna start shipping to distributors, and we're hoping to start as soon as possible.
Do you use an Fpga in the goggles?
Yes, we
Maybe
do.
if you tell more
Yeah,
about.
basically we use the Fpga is used to drive the micro displays. So at first we thought that Fpga is going to handle the buttons and then a lot of other stuff, but
Right now it actually is taking the input from the buttons.
But we're going to move that to
Yeah, but I mean FPGA is unfortunately needed to drive the micro displays, and yeah, I mean
in some of the future versions we might not need the Fpga, but
we're looking.
it depends
into
on
that,
the types of panels that we're going to use. But for the types of panels that we use right now, you need an Fpga to drive the panels. But what I was saying that originally we thought that FPGA is going to do much more than just driving the panel, but we realized that there's so much firepower in the video, not the video processor, but the chip we're using for the DVR. That we during the development we offloaded a lot of the functionalities to that chip, and it's like a tiny multi-core processor, and it's like having a tiny computer there. So FPGA ended up being just the
to drive the micro
Drive the
displays.
micro
Nothing else.
Okay, so Jeffro FPV is asking, shouldn't backers be delivered first?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
they're going to
Yes,
be
they're
delivered
gonna
first. So
get it first.
immediately after we deliver to our backers, goggles will become available with our resellers, like
Yeah.
Get FPV in United States.
Yeah.
The audio on this Steam
No more
seems
questions,
low,
we
or
can
that's
go
just
home.
me? Okay.
Always audio issues.
Yeah, we still have those audios. We
But
got
you have
those
new
really
mics.
nice mics.
What's going
and,
on with the audio?
I don't know.
Yeah. Guys, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. The audio is low, yeah.
Audio is low.
The volume, so.
You skipped my question before. Okay, let me check. What was your question? You wrote in the updates you got some buttons for that. Can you tell us a bit in these
Oh,
final
okay.
days where how do you operate everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, we managed to get a very small number of those buttons. These are the LED buttons that are actually used for fan and power on button, and we got a limited amount of them that went into this automated PCB assembly batch, and yeah, I mean. This is everything was good.
Okay, carrying case.
There's a question about the FPGA. Is it upgradable via
Yeah.
firmware? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So everything is up. All the we have at the moment we have 3 chips that can take that we need when the firmware update is being applied. You're actually loading firmware to 3 different chips: video processor, to DVR chip, and to the FPGA. So you can do it. So as understood, but you built at least one. So yeah, we're doing. No, so they are not placeholder buttons. They are actually the buttons that we're going to use.
But
in
2 green
very,
buttons.
in very small quantity and not the colors that we wanted. But actually, I went to the PCB assembly fab yesterday and got back the first 10-ish. Units that are being assembled as we speak.
Do you know what the delay for the HDMI out as far as Dr. told me?
It's negligible.
Yeah.
The latency latencycycy on the HDMI is going to be negligible.
Can we have closer from the LED button? Okay, yes you can. Come on.
If you can find a couple of thousand, reach out to us, Don.
Yeah.
It might be out of focus.
Slow Scotty heard that we're sending a pair to Oscar Leang. Are we?
Yeah.
Are we? We are. Okay. We are.
Are you? Yeah. Okay.
He says that if we send him an extra pair, he will give them away in a contest. Well, we'll think about it.
2 extra.
It's out of focus.
It's
totally.
very out of focus. No, I didn't. That doesn't. Fail.
No, maybe if we give a part number to.
No, I'm not giving the part numbers.
so they do a sourcing for us.
Will
So
pilots be
some.
racing with our goggles in Istanbul?
Some.
Some of them, yeah.
And the spotters.
But just they're gonna test fly it where we're not gonna. Yeah, but the spotters will have goggles, and everyone who'll be there, come and find me, and I'll give you a ride.
Oh, nice.
How can we recognize you?
Just have the Orqa free ride shirt.
You could have like the ostrich air shirt. So
Oh, I'll be happy to wear one.
it
Yeah.
would be easy to find you.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe the next update. What can do?
Ton. Can you hear close up next? Oh, close up the buttons from next. Yeah,
I've
sure.
tried.
Yeah, you can take the macro on this guy here.
Yeah,
You can post the
image.
good photo. Of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean, it's really tiny and it's
it was pain in the ass to
Yeah.
get it right and to find such a tiny backlit LED backlit.
But we were very picky as well. We were changing the amount of pressure that you need to. We were
Sure.
testing it, right?
We've been like selecting the right buttons for months, and we really tested a lot of them, and finally we decided these are the ones because we were looking for the LED backlit switches which are small enough to fit between all those hundreds of components. I mean, I can tell you like there are more than 400 individual components on the PCB right now, so it's pretty packed.
So okay, we have. Can you tell us a bit about module bay? I don't know no fat shark, so I don't know how about the modules. Will it be possible, for example, to receive digital signal with specialized future module?
So on the primary module bay, it's geared towards analog. That being said, you will be able to plug in any sort of digital input through the HDMI. The thing about having digital modules is that there's no standard at the moment that we could design for. So the best bet is to count on.
Right now, all the available options for the digital are outputting the HDMI signal, which is obviously possible to connect to the goggles via the HDMI, but I don't believe that's gonna be the standard for the future. But right now, other than that, there is no other way to get the digital signal out of any of these.
And also,
systems.
I don't think that we'll be seeing a digital goggles in this small form factor anytime soon, because this is rather cramped as it is, and what we've seen as from the currently available digital technology, it's running hot and it's still too large to fit in this. So we'll.
Yeah, at this moment, I mean,
Yeah.
in a year or so, who knows?
So I don't really expect that in the next couple of generations we're gonna have this
like the
small
built-in module
compact goggles with digital. We're gonna have to have either larger goggles or
This is the T-shirt we chose. Orqa Pilot Club on it.
Oh wow.
That's
that
how you
that said a lot.
and is there going to be a diabetics lens cover protector? I don't know what that is.
Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah. It would be an unfair advantage for race pilots to have them, I agree.
Of course. Yeah.
How is everything being shipped, meaning the swag pack, antennas, the goggles, Connect?
No, the swag packs will be shipped probably.
But will it be shipped individually or together?
Depending. So we had some swag packs that are sold independently from the goggles. So we'll be shipping them individually. Will the goggles automatically select the right input? Yes.
Yep. Goggles will automatically select the right input.
Yeah.
Are the rapid fires in stock already? Will they be shipped to? We're going to ship the rapid fire directly to the backers.
Shirt, please. Yeah, we're gonna have it available for purchase on our website. We're actually doing a redesign of the website. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of cool animations, and it's going to be a great product web page. So I think this week we're gonna have a beta version of the web page, and probably by 1st of October we have scheduled to release a final version of the website.
Do you have any questions, Jonathan?
No, I'm
You
just
asked
trying
all
to
the
distract you guys so I could go like this.
Yeah. When turn on the goggles, you switch quads.
That's a very good
That's
question.
a very good
Very good
question.
question,
So basically, the DVR, this is the issue that we have with the always-on DVR. How will it know that what the input it has?
So basically, yeah, the DVR needs to, you know, when it gets these syncs, it needs to determine whether it's NTSC and PAL and adapt to it. So it will pick it up correctly. But that's a very good question.
What firmware version will Rapid Fire come with? It's going to be a iteration of latest firmware
Yep.
with Orqa stamp on it.
What does that mean?
Really?
Stamp
What's
everything?
that?
No, we're gonna on a bootloader. There's gonna be our logo as well.
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stuff happening that we don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm talking with him.
As the team grows, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like things start separating.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
stop. I'll stop
That's-
coming to work. I'm not needed here.
You gotta go to the
Well,
golf course.
When will the Rapid Fire Orqa firmware will be? I don't know. Okay, guys, we're getting close to the end of this live session. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in. Okay, yeah. Will the Rapid Fire integrate with the goggles?
How much will the Orqa weigh? How much do we weigh it? How much was it?
I think with everything, it's slightly more than 200. It's around 220.
Yeah,
Grams.
it's actually.
Grams.
I was slightly worried because before getting the injection molded shots, I was expecting that the 3D printed version is gonna be lighter, and you know, I didn't know how heavy will the injection molding gonna be. But I was surprised how light it actually is. It's going to be quite light. And how long will it run with the battery provided? I expect it's going to be a couple of hours.
At least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours.
It depends if the DVR is recording, or it depends how much things you actually are running simultaneously.
And are we happy? I mean, I'm really happy with these. It's really when I first saw the injected molded test shots, I was like, wow, this is really a cool looking
awesome.
product. I mean, we were looking at 3D printed goggles for
2.5 years.
2.5 years, and then finally getting those
Real
injection molded
plastic,
shots, real
yeah.
plastic shots. That was really amazing. I'm very happy.
I'm seeing this question a lot. Why we chose 18500 instead of 18650?
Just because of the size, and we found the cells which are like 2000 milliamp hours.
I forgot to post about the batteries.
Yeah,
They're
and
super nice.
these are, I mean, significantly smaller than the standards. And I was hoping. The first idea was to have like the normal lipos, and the battery case would be a bit slimmer and smaller. And when we started thinking about moving to the 18650s, I couldn't really take that size difference. It was like that battery case looked to
Too
me
big,
like
yeah.
it was too big. And then we found those 18500s, and it looks just right.
Can they still switch color of choice for the goggles?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But
You gotta know the right people, right?
Yes, you can expect to receive the goggles with the rapid fire.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Is the FPV play ready? No,
Getting
not
ready.
yet. Getting ready.
Yeah.
Getting there. So how do you charge the battery? A barrel plug adapter? Yes. We don't have USB. There's gonna be
No.
just. We thought about that, but it just didn't make a lot of sense. So we decided it's gonna be. You're gonna
All same.
charge them with
You
the
got a barrel plug, and
balance
you got
charge
got
them.
yeah.
Yeah, we will have a battery case.
Yeah.
Batteries will be easily accessible. Basically, there's going to be 4 screws to unscrew.
Yeah, I mean the idea is not to actually change the batteries, but if that is needed, it's not going to be a big problem because you will be able to just unscrew the four screws on the case and just replace the batteries. They're not
Without any soldering, yeah.
Yeah, they just have the normal
Just replace the cells.
spring contacts inside, and the batteries can be changed.
2 hours isn't really
I make
that.
and shrink wrap my own packs with, go for it, man. That's
2 hours.
But then you will not have nice Orqa labeled batteries inside.
With the battery checker on it.
we will be selling extra batteries, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buy.
You'll be able to buy them as an accessory. But you'll be able to use any 2S battery with barrel plug.
Yeah, sure.
We're gonna be compatible with what's industry standard.
Okay, let's wrap up this live. So this is our first special live, and I think it's been a good one. So thanks a lot first of all, for coming all the way down to Croatia from California. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Same.
And yeah, thanks a lot for some wisdom and some future talks about flying cars. It was really awesome to hear that from first hand, actually. So thank you all, guys.
Can you show the battery case? Do we have the 3D printed battery case here?
It's just printing right now.
Yeah.
No, you cannot see it here. It's in
It's
the
in
next
the
room.
other room,
It's in the next room.
I got to
Okay.
see it for you guys, so don't worry about it.
So we'll be keeping you posted over the Kickstarter updates.
There's gonna be plenty of
and
stickers.
Yeah, it's gonna be plenty of stickers and so on and so on and so on and so on. Okay, guys.
Thanks
Thanks
for
a
your
lot.
questions.
Thanks for the support.
And thanks for the support and
Fly safe.
Fly safe, yeah.
Mhm.
Fly safe.